Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. And now, as you guys can tell by the title, tomorrow I'm planning on doing a flight to France. Now, I've never actually flown outside of UK airspace. This will definitely be a challenge and very exciting for myself. However, that being said, this involves a lot of planning. I'm planning on going with an instructor and another student called Rich, who you may have seen in some previous videos. But the plan is one of us will fly a leg out to France, not exactly sure where. We might go a bit deeper into France. We have to see after we do all our planning today, and then we'll be flying back. Guys, this is going to be such a good video, very exciting. If you do enjoy it, remember to subscribe and hit that like button. But first, it's time to start planning, so let's get into it.
So I spent ages trying to read the French AIP, in French of course, just to realise there was an English version right next to it, which I completely missed, which did not make my life easier. But then there was loads of paperwork, loads of forms to fill out, which did take a little while, took most of the day, but finally got those all sorted by the evening.
So guys, today has been very chaotic. I managed to get a haircut and all the midst of things. Sorry I didn't have a lot of time to record, I was just so busy, but let me explain what happened. So the original plan was for Rich to fly from Oxford to Lille, do an approach at Lille, and then we'll fly to Le Touquet to land. Then we would swap over, I would take off from Le Touquet, fly to Lille, and then back to Oxford. Simple, right? No. We contacted Lille this evening to change one of the approaches. However, they informed us that 2 of their controllers had got COVID, so they were closing the airport for tomorrow, which obviously really put a spanner in the works and did not help us at all. So last minute, we created a new plan. Plan is for Rich to fly to Le Touquet. Then we're going to land there. Then he's going to do like a training flight, a simple instrument flight just for practice in the general area around Le Touquet. And then we'll come back into land. Then we'll swap over. I'll do my general flight in Le Touquet for practice and then land back at Le Touquet. And then I'll fly us home to Oxford. So as you guys can tell, we really do have a busy day tomorrow. It's going to be chaotic. We have, I think, everything planned. We have a little bit to do in the morning, but the majority of it is all done. I am really looking forward to this flight. I'll try to get as many clips as I can on my phone whilst in the back seat. Hopefully I can bring the GoPro along with me as well for my flight. But we're just going to have to wait and see, and fingers crossed. But yeah, now I will see you guys tomorrow morning as we head into the academy to start planning our flight, ready to head off to France. So guys, it is about 5:30 in the morning of the day of the France trip, up nice and early as we do have to be in early. But plan is just to get ready this morning, have some breakfast and head into the academy, finish off all the planning we have to do. And then Rich is flying the first leg out there. So that will be okay. I'll be able to relax in the back this morning. And then after his couple flights, we'll switch over for my 2. So I'm about to finish off, getting ready, and I'll see you guys in the academy. So just walking out to do the A check. We're going to do it together just to speed it up. And but most of the planning's already done. We've got all the documents and stuff we need. I've got our passports with us as well. But yeah, now time to do the A check and then yeah, finish off any extra planning we need.
So guys, to start off the day, as I said before, Rich is taking us off out of Oxford runway 19, and the cloud base was quite low, but luckily as soon as we broke out of that, the views were absolutely amazing. Nice and sunny all above the cloud, had that wispy layer on top as well, which led to some awesome views, especially early in the morning. As that sun's just starting to rise, you can get some really cool views. Now, I was just chilling in the back, obviously pretty tired, so when I wasn't half asleep, I was trying to get some cool shots for you guys. But here we are climbing away, currently climbing just through flight level 70, but as you'll see in a second, we actually got cleared up to flight level 110. That's 11,000 feet in the air, which was the highest either of us had been. And at 11,000 feet, flying over London, we had this awesome view of Heathrow just off to our left when we got that plane taking off of the runway, just as you can see right in the distance. But on our way to France, again, having some awesome views of the centre of London, of the Thames, even got a little view of Buckingham Palace from quite the distance. But annoyingly, as we started to cross the channel, that cloud just got lower and lower, and it really was right on the minimums for the approach. Luckily we were able to get in, but it was right on the limits, and followed by a beautiful approach and landing from Rich. I can't remember exactly, but I but I believe we did the RMP in. Yeah, really smooth approach, really awesome airport, Le Touquet, right on the coast, so it's an awesome approach, and then a smooth landing by Rich, and a small taxi. The weird thing we found in France is not even the language barrier. I mean, as hard as that was, they did speak relatively good English, hard to understand at times, but we did manage to get around it. However, the weird thing was, now in England, I'm not sure how this works in other parts of the world, so let me know in the comments if you've done flying elsewhere. So now let's say the airport's quite quiet and you have a ground and a tower. Let's say it's quiet, then they just shut the ground, right? But in Le Touquet, they leave them both open. They have the same controller do both. However, if you're on the ground, you have to contact them. Bit odd, but once we made it inside here, got a little view of the airport, nothing fancy, nice and small. But then Rich had to do that second flight, as we both needed to take off and landing in France. Had my sandwich in the back, and Rich did a quick circuit. But it wasn't a circuit, he took off and basically did the approach straight in. Followed by my exact same flight. So I took off, obviously followed by me entering straight into the cloud due to that poor weather. But literally, we had just to take off and land in EASA airspace, in European airspace. So we took off, basically did the procedural, I believe it was RMP, straight away. Took off, procedural RMP, straight into land. Each flight was about 15 minutes, maybe even 10. It was really quick, we just did it as quickly as possible. But after that, I did a smooth landing, of course, knowing me, back into the Touquet, and then it was time to go exploring. And now time to do the one thing on our list while in France. Time to get a baguette.
We've got our baguettes here in France. Loving life. Pretty cool, isn't it? So just finishing the supermarkets with our baguettes. Time to head back to the plane and yeah, got to fly back now.
So, with the pretty awful weather, it was time to take off, and Le Touquet is actually known for having a ridiculous amount of birds nearby. And on takeoff, that actually proved to be a difficulty. Right before we were rotating, we had a lot of birds fly over our head, so we just decided to keep the plane on the runway for a tiny bit more, and then I rotated after all the birds had passed. It was very complicated, made it a bit stressful. Luckily, we didn't get a bird strike, and we could head home nice and smoothly, but I'll play that clip for you now. Pay attention to the birds that fly overhead, it gets pretty close. Luckily, managing to avoid all the birds were out of Le Touquet, out through the pouring weather, lots of rain, clouds very low, really awful weather, so glad to be out of there, heading home to England where the weather wasn't much better to be honest, but wasn't as bad as France. Now, for our route back, it was very similar to the route we did on the way here, except this one was actually a lot more direct, which made it easier for us. Lots of pretty simple flying. I think we got cleared to 10,000 feet, so not the 11,000 feet we got to last time, but still pretty high. And also we got some traffic in the distance, some commercial planes, and you get that a lot flying over London, with Heathrow, Gatwick, Luton, Stansted, all of those major airports nearby. But again, really nice views in between the two layers of cloud, and even had some planes just fly really close to us in the distance, so I'll let you have a look at those now. But once we were back speaking to Oxford Radar, we did a radar vectored ILS, and I actually did something I knew how to do but had never actually tried doing in the DA42 sim. I used the autopilot for my approach. Now, this is pretty easy, and you'll get this a lot doing it in the airlines. And you've always known how to do it, but I've never actually tried it in real life. So I really wanted to give it a go, and we tried it to see how it worked. And it is a good learning experience, so I know how to do it and understand all the systems. But with that taking us in, I also have to keep an eye on the speed, as obviously that is my job and the autopilot does not control that. But it was a pretty simple approach, as obviously, it's just flying the ILS for me, and it was really simple. Of course, there is no auto land like there are on some of the commercial planes, so I did have to land it myself, but that's no fun. I enjoy landing them anyway. But after another smooth landing and probably one of my longest days I've ever had since the start of my training, I was finally back home on English soil, and it was time to head home and have a cup of tea.
And just like that, we are back home in England from a trip to France. Such good fun. I really want to do it again, to be honest, but it was really good fun. So thank you for watching. And if you did enjoy, you're definitely going to want to check out this video here. It's an IFR flight to Blackpool. A very similar flight to this one, but instead of France, we went to Blackpool, but a really good day out. So go give it a watch. And thanks for watching.